Good day, everyone. My name is Romel Alojado Bueza, Beta Ed 2A, major in automotive. So we are going to explain to you now what is Marxism. Marxism is a social, political, and economical philosophy named after Karl Marx, which examines the effects of capitalism on labor, productivity, and economic development and argues with a worker revolution to overturn capitalism in favor of communism. So now, we are going to tackle about classical Marxism, authoritarianism, hegemony, and post-Marxism and cultural studies.
Good day everyone, I am Junaville Robles, a BT Ed second year student Section C, major in Garments, Fashion and Design. My topic is all about the classical Marxism. Classical Marxism is the theories and debates considered to be classical Marxism, are those that were already discussed during the lifetime of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. The term classical Marxism is used here to define an exact temporal and logical field. It does not reflect a value judgment. According to Karl Marx, each significant period in history is constructed around a particular mode of production to produce the necessary of life, food, shelter, and etc.
Specific ways of obtaining the necessaries of life, specific social relationships between workers and those who control the mode of production, specific social institutions including cultural ones.
This analysis is the claim that how a society produces its means of existence, which is the particular mode of production. It determines the political, social, and cultural shape of that society and its possible future development. This statement is based on certain belief about the relationship between base and superstructure that the Marxist account of culture is. Base consists of a combination of the forces of production and the relations of production. The forces of production refer to the raw materials, the tools, the technology, the worker, and their skills, and etc. Its structure, it consists of institutions which is political, legal, educational, cultural, and etc. And definite forms of social consciousness which is political, religious, ethical, philosophical, aesthetic, cultural, and etc. generated by these institutions. The relationship between base and its structure is twofold. On the other hand, the superstructure both expresses and legitimates the base, while the base is said to condition or determine the content and form of the superstructure. This relationship can be understood in a range of different ways.
Good day, ma'am. I'm Luna Elapio from BTBT Ed 2C, Garments, Fashion, and Design. My topic is all about Authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is the idea of the Swiss Althusser that had an enormous influence on cultural theory and popular culture. Althusser's interventions and their consequent development are enormously formative for the field of cultural studies. Althusser's most significant contribution to the field in his different attempts to theorize the concept of ideology. The relation between the base and the superstructure. The superstructure is not one of expression, the superstructure being an expression or passive reflection of the base, but rather the perspective structure to seem unnecessary to the existence of the base. Determination remains, but its determination in the last instance. This operates through what he calls the structure in dominance. Although the economic is always ultimately determinant, this doesn't mean that in a proportion historical conjunction necessarily be dominant. According to Althusser 1969, a social formation consists of three practices. First, economic. Second, the political. Third, the ideological. Economic is determinant in the last instance, not because the other instances are just a phenomena, but because it determines which practice is dominant. Author produced three definitions of ideology. Under feudalism, the political was the dominant level. Nevertheless, the practice that is dominant in a particular social formation will depend on the specific form. Althusser produced definition of ideology. 1. Which overlaps in some ways. Second, is the saying that ideology, a system with its own logic and rigor of representation, images, myths, ideas, or concepts. Ideology dispels contradictions in life experience. It accomplishes this by offering false but stimulating true resolutions to heal problems. The real condition of existence at the level of representation, myth, concepts, ideas, images, discourse. There are the real conditions, and there are the ways we represent these conditions to ourselves and to others. Ideology is for Althusser a closed system. It can only ever set itself such problems as it can answer. That is to remain within its boundaries, a mythic, real without contradiction. It must stay silent on question, which threaten to take it beyond its boundaries. Formulation leads Althusser to the concept of problematic. He first uses the concept to explain the epistemological break, which he claims occurred Marx's work in 1845. Althusser argues that if we are to fully understand the meaning of a text, we have to be aware of not only what is in a text, but also the assumptions which inform. Text problematic is supposedly revealed in the way a text may appear to answer a question which it has not formally posed. The task of an Althusserian critical practice is to deconstruct the text to reveal the problematic. To do this is to perform what Althusser calls a symptomatic reading.
Good day, everyone! By the way, my name is Journalyn Sauro Aurelianida, a Beta Ed 2C Garments Fashion Design, and my topic is all about the hegemony. Hegemony is the domination of the culturally devised society by the ruling class, which manipulates the culture of the society, the beliefs, explanation, perception, value, and etc. So, the imposed ruling class worldview becomes the accepted cultural norms. Hegemony is for Gramsci, a political concept developed to explain the given explosion and representative nature of capitalism, the absence of socialist revolution in the Western capitalist democracies. Hegemony refers to dominance of shared system of ideas, values, and ethics within the society of community during a particular historical period. The states perform their hegemony with flag ceremonies, commemorative monuments, national holidays, and military parades. Finance capital demonstrates its hegemony with cluster of glittering skyscrapers that dominate the centers of global cities. Gramsci is the base known for this theory of cultural hegemony, which described how the states and ruling capitalist class, the bourgeoisie, use cultural institutions to maintain power in capitalist societies. The hegemony beliefs refers to domination or rule maintained to the ideological or cultural means. It is usually achieved through social institutions which allow those in power to strongly influence the values, norms, ideas, expectation, worldview, and also the behavior of the rest of the society.
Good day, everyone. My name is Stephanie Arjuna Hayahay, a VTVT Ed second year student, major in Garments Fashion Design. My topic is all about post-Marxism and cultural studies. Post-Marxism is a trend in the political philosophy and theory which deconstruct Karl Marx's writings and Marxism proper by passing or orthodox Marxism. Cultural studies is an innovative interdisciplinary field of research and teaching that investigate the ways in which cultures create and transforms individual experiences, everyday life, social relations, and power. According to Angela McRowie, observes Marxism is no longer as influential in cultural studies as has been in the past. Marxism is a major point of reference for whole culture studies project in UK. that has been undermined not just from the viewpoint of the postmodern critics who attack its theological proposition, its essentialism, economism, Eurocentrism, and within the whole Enlightened project, but also as a result of events in Eastern Europe, socialist projects are much discrediting. Angela McRobbie explained that the return to the pre-postmodern Marxism as marked out by the critics like Frederick Jameson and David Harvey is untenable because of the terms of that return are predicated on prioritizing economics relations and economics determination over cultural and political relations. But more than this, there is a real sense in the culture studies was always already post-Marxism. Angela McRobbie states, as Holt points out, that the objective of the study, such as culture, ideology, language, the symbolic, talk about or seems to understand instead the things which had imprisoned Marxism has a mood of thought. To be post-Marxist is to leave behind Marxism for something better, whereas to be post-Marxist is to seek to transform Marxism by adding to it recent theoretical developments from especially feminism, postmodernism, post-structuralism, and Lacanian psychoanalysis. Lacroix and Maffel are more post-Marxist than they are post-Marxist. The concept of discourse is central to the development of post-Marxism. As Lacroix explained, the basic hypothesis of discursive approach is that very possibility of perception, thought, and action depends on the structuration of a certain meaningful field which pre-exists any factual immediacy. In other words, they use the term discourse to emphasize the fact that every social configuration is meaningful.